Here we go now.
If you are ready to live a life of abundance, if you are ready to best your best, then come to the edge. Because if you are not living your life on the edge, you are taking up far too much room.
Here we go now.
There is not an I in team. I'm Eric Brown, your host, and with me in studio, Mr. Mike Jones.
Hey, Eric, how you doing, man? You know, we've all been taught that there is no I in team. I know growing up playing sports, I played football, I ran track, I played baseball growing up, and the message from those coaches continually is there is no I in team. Now, I have grown up to believe that that's not the truth. Now, you're going to have to listen with the intent to be influenced because I know what you've been taught also. So I'm encouraging you to stick with us here. I say there is an I in team.
So, Mike, I'm looking right here on my shirt, the word team. There is no I in team.
Yeah, I never said that there was an I in the spelling of team. I am saying that there is literally an I in team. In every team that you are on, I am going to suggest that there is an I in team. So let's talk about why. First of all, every person on that team matters. Every person on that team has an absolute job to do. Every person on that team brings an attitude. Every person on that team is either prepared or they're not prepared. Every person on that team is either positive or negative. Every last one of them is going to affect the outcome, how things turn out. So if you think about this for a second, you have somebody on your team, they show up to work late and negative and grumpy all day long. I know that you know in this present moment that that affects the environment. It affects the culture. Think about this, because this is really important to me. If you have a person on your team that is always late, you are sitting there having a conversation with yourself about them being late. You're beginning to get somewhat frustrated because you've had a conversation with them about this. However, they continue to be late again and again. It's affecting your performance. It's affecting their performance because they're going to show up all anxious and anxiety and stressed out because they were doing everything that they could to get there on time. However, they didn't plan well. However, they didn't get up when the alarm went off. However, they didn't take care of their business so that they could be there on time. They are going to affect how the environment is and how the day turns out. When we show up and understand that there is an I in team, and I give my 100% and you give your 100%, there is a potential for us to get to an optimal result. If one of us gives less than our 100%, if one of us has a negative attitude, if one of us is holding back, we can get to sum total, SUMTOTAL. We will not get to optimal. We will only get to sum total.
So then are you saying that as things go wrong on our teams, that we should go look for the reason why it went wrong and who made the mistake? Because there is an I in team?
Absolutely not. Because in the context of this conversation, when there is an understanding that there is an I in team, every person on that team that accepts personal responsibility to be that I on the team, to understand the significance that they have in how the outcome turns out. So here's a great example for you, Eric. When I played football, there are different positions on the football field. I play quarterback. And what I know is that if that tackle on the right side of that offense did not block the defensive end that was in front of him, that was going to be some sum total happening because we were not going to be able to effectively run that play. So if everybody on that line of scrimmage, if every one of those running backs and receivers are not doing their job every play, I'm not talking about taking a play off. I'm talking about every play that we are on this field playing this game, and there is time on that clock. We have got to be willing to understand that if I do my job, there is a potential for success. If one of us, just one of us, doesn't do our job, there is absolutely the potential of failure. So there is an I in team. It stands for autonomous individual who is willing to show up and give 100% of what they do have to give. This is not a conversation about being selfish. It's a conversation about understanding that you matter, you count, you are going to affect the outcome either positively or negatively. You know, I grew up and I heard people often saying that a relationship is a 50-50 proposition. I always question that because I did not become half a person when I got in this relationship. So the relationship should be a 100 to a 100. That is where math gets interesting, y'all, because where there is synergy, 1 + 1 = 3. It means that the sum of this, when added together, will produce more than any one of them can on their own. But if I'm given 100% and my significant other is given 50%, we will never get to optimal in this relationship. We will always end up with sum total. So I'm encouraging you to accept personal responsibility in this present moment that there is an I in team, and that I is you, because you matter, you count, you are going to affect the outcome in every relationship that you're in, either positively or negatively.
So I absolutely love the concept, the reframe that you have about the I in team. But go back to your football story. So if the tackle doesn't block properly and you as the quarterback get sacked, don't you have to then go hold the tackle accountable for missing their job?
Yeah, when you are truly creating a culture at work or at home that there is an I in team, and you have people there that you gain an agreement with, which says we're going to play the game this way. I am the I in team. I know what my job is. I know what my responsibilities are. I absolutely accept personal responsibility to give you my 100% every time that happens. There may be times in this culture, in this relationship, where you understand that accountability is now the greatest gift that you have. So now I'm going to give you permission to hold me accountable, because sometimes I may just take a day off or have a little lull, but I've given you permission to help me get my mindset back up, to get my energy back up, to get my enthusiasm back up. And when we're playing a game like that, and we understand that accountability is a gift that brings the enthusiasm and the passion and the greatest success, then I don't hear criticism or judgment. And when I'm playing the game this way, I understand that that person has my back. And when I allow that person to hold me accountable, when they allow me to hold them accountable to playing the game at this level, we have the potential of more wins than losses. I tell people all the time, you're not going to win every time, but you ought to want to. You absolutely ought to go into that game wanting to win every time. You know, I hear some of these professional athletes sometimes not wanting to give somebody a chalkboard talk by saying that they're going to win or that they're focused on winning. But I don't mind telling you, every time I show up, you got to know that I'm having a conversation with myself that I'm going to win. Whether I'm playing pickleball, whether I'm playing volleyball, or whatever it is that I'm doing. I absolutely am committed to have a mindset and a focus on I will win this game.
Well, you know, Mike, after us playing volleyball against each other, I guess you can't really say that anymore now, can you?
I'm afraid we're going to have to save that one for another day, because I don't think I've lost too many volleyball games.
Ladies and gentlemen, you heard it here first. There is indeed an I in team, and it's you. You matter, you count, you are affecting the outcome in everything that you do. You always have, and you always will.
And as the I in team, I am going to encourage you right now to make a commitment to yourself to get out on that edge, because that's where it all is happening right now, is on that edge. Because if you're not out there, you're taking up far too much risk.
Here we go now.